I think a lot of people, they just want to wake up one day and assume that I'm going to have my dream job. Really got to do the work first. I was hyper obsessed with working. A lot of my friends didn't get it. Everything I've done in Chicago has just been from the ground up. That has really shown me that the sky's the limit.
Landon Campbell.
Landon Campbell.
An honor to talk to you.
When we're trying to do something new, take on a new job or move to a new city, sometimes it might be easiest to just go heads first into it.
How difficult was following this advice for you?
I got laid off. I never said I wanted to be a venture capitalist. It became overwhelming because you can't be multiple people at one time.
How do you invest?
I feel like there are so many investors that are just so lazy. I want to be a friend, therapist, confidant. It's more than just investing.
Are you happy with where you are today? Welcome to this week's episode of Up Next. Today we're talking with Landon, the host of the In Their 20s podcast, where he talks with really successful people like Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, to learn what they did in their 20s, and also the general manager at Drive Capital's Pre-Seed Chicago fund, basically the person that does all the decision making on in which companies to invest and how to allocate the fund's capital. During his time at DePaul University, Landon did 10 internships, a crazy number. He almost worked full-time through his entire college time. And what this, together with all the lessons he learned from his podcast interviews, changed in his life and what impact this had on his career. That is what I wanted to find out and wanted to share with you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Up Next. If you do enjoy, please rate on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you happen to listen. And yeah, let's dive right into it. This is Up Next. It's Landon Campbell. Good to see you, Landon. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Happy Monday.
How would you explain what you're doing for a living right now to a 10-year-old?
Yes, great question. So I work for a venture capital firm where we invest early. We're the first investors into companies that eventually can do really special and big things. So I'm building out our office in Chicago. So I'm looking for early Chicago founders, people who have big ideas, have unique experiences, and all they need is money to get to the next step. So I'm investing in those individuals. And then I also have a podcast where I interview successful people about what they did while they were in their 20s. So not what they're doing today, not all the money they're making, not all the success that they're having, but back in their 20s, back when they did not have their lives figured out, back when they were confused on their journey. I interview people to talk about their 20s.
Awesome. That's a great answer to that.
Yeah, and I love to answer it like you're speaking with a 10-year-old, because sometimes that can be difficult to do. But I think for the most part, when it comes to storytelling and explaining something, you should have it so that a 10-year-old can understand it, and also a 90-year-old, someone who's been in the field for a long time, someone who has no idea what venture capital or podcasting is. So it's still a challenge to me sometimes, but you're right. I mean, you do need to kind of break things up like that.
Yeah, it is a challenge for almost everyone I talk to, because we're so used to talking about the things we do with the people that are also in the field and know everything. But yeah, it was a great answer. You actually grew up in Oakland, in the Oakland area,
yes.
Right?
Totally.
So close to Silicon Valley. I've heard you say more than once during research how this exposure influenced you during that time, the exposure to entrepreneurship especially. Totally. You still moved, and you're to this day in Chicago. How hard was this step? I mean,
difficult for sure. I mean, yeah, I'm not special in that sense. Many college students move to a new city where they don't have any family, no friends. But I mean, I think a lot of people are scared to do that also in their 20s. And I felt like, okay, I've been in this place my whole life, the Bay Area, Oakland, and I love it. And my family's there. And obviously, never wanted to be away from my family. I talk to my mom 5 times a day anyway, though. But my point is, if you're young and you're looking for the perfect time to try something new, sometimes that first big step can be for college. So it's nice that I was able to do it when I was 18, and I think I could easily do it again. Now that I became comfortable and have proven that I could build something special in a new city where I don't know anybody, don't have any connections. Everything I've done in Chicago has just been from the ground up. So that has really shown me that the sky's the limit. There's so much opportunity out there. You just have to go out and get it.
What were you looking for when you moved? What's the bad side of Silicon Valley growing up there? Why didn't you just stay?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that, and this is one of the many reasons why, I wanted to move. I think so much success has been seen in Silicon Valley, which is good. I mean, many of the companies that have gone to, improve, make our lives much more easier and efficient, have been started in Silicon Valley. So Silicon Valley, has already had its time to prove to the world, the power / how many companies can come out of this area. Many startups, again, started in this area. So, I was looking for a city where I could move, and sure, I didn't know exactly the specifics of the next few years, what I'd want to do, where I'd work, but I knew I wanted to move to a city that, had enough resources, but not all the attention in the world. And that is Chicago. I think Chicago is a very overlooked place when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to technology and startups, which is ironic because a lot of culture and a lot of talent is in Chicago. There's a lot of cool stuff that happens in the Midwest, and everybody knows of Chicago. But I saw a gap for sure, and still see that to this day. We have a long ways to go in Chicago, but I'm now just really fortunate that I can be one of the contributing forces that helps build the city, rebrands the city, and maybe has the city compared to Silicon Valley one day.
You've been in Chicago for 6 years, right?
About 6, yeah.
About 6. That's and during those 6 years, you built basically everything, right? From zero to what you have today.
Yes.
What's your advice for someone moving to a new city, starting from zero right now to build that social and professional life?
Yes, yeah. So first off, I talk about this a lot. It's called working backwards. I think when we're trying to do something new, take on a new job or move to a new city, sometimes it might be easiest to just go heads first into it, and let the universe kind of figure it all out for you. But whenever I take on something new in life, I always like to work backwards. So if I'm taking on a new job, I don't need to know exactly how long I want to be at that job, but I do like to say, okay, what do I want to get out of my first year specifically? What do I want to get out of my first 2 years specifically? Or if I join a club or an organization on campus, what do I want to get out of this? Okay. So I'm all for doing a lot of stuff in your 20s, see what you like, see what you don't like. But at least before you go into something, try and work backwards and actually write down the specific, and it just be guessing too, but what do you want to get out of this opportunity? And I think if you're now doing something for a month, doing it for half a year, doing it for a year, and you're not touching on any of the stuff that you originally planned on doing, that might be a problem. That might be a time to change what you're doing. Seek different mentors maybe in the organization. Talk to someone about how you can get closer to accomplishing your specific goals. Because when it comes to goal setting, I'm all for transferable skills. You only do that by making sure that you're setting these specific goals going into something. And then at the end, when it ends, you're able to say, okay, I gained this specific skill from this opportunity and I can now bring it over here to this next one. So you got to work backwards. And that isn't a principle that I made. Amazon, I think Jeff Bezos really has a working backwards type culture at Amazon that he implemented there early. So again, take ownership over your own life, know what you want to get out of these certain things. And it can be as simple as, which clubs to join all the way to which job to join. Know specifically what you want to get out of these opportunities.
I often talk about intention, and I feel like this is really, really such a big thing. Thanks for sharing that. So
intentionality is super important. I believe that too.
Yeah, agreed. During high school, one of your things was directing and even playwriting for theater. Yeah. If I had asked one of your high school teachers back then, how would they describe you?
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing your research. I think that, I spent so much time in theater, and it was really how I built my personal brand, like in high school. So I think, many of my teachers at the time would have guessed that I'd be doing something along the lines of theater. But this is an example of working backwards. Like, I felt like I got everything out of theater that I wanted to get out of it. And going into college, I just knew I wanted to try something new. Theater's what brought me to DePaul, but I kind of had this quarter-life crisis early and said I wanted to do something new, like it's time to switch it up and get closer to maybe some of my other interests, entrepreneurship, etc. So it's so important for me to take those transferable skills and put them into what I started with at the beginning of college. So when I was able to look at theater and say, okay, what did I get from these experiences? I said public speaking for sure, creativity, like collaboration, critical thinking. Like, these are a lot of skills that I still use every single day from theater. So that helped me be a little more intentional about my next moves, like what my next internship looked like, what the next opportunity I wanted to pursue looked like, because I had these transferable skills, and then I was able to start something new and say, okay, let me use these, but then also work backwards. Like, for this next job, what do I want to get out of this? And the first job I had my freshman year was an unpaid internship at this social media marketing company. Obviously, nobody wants an unpaid internship, and that was tough, but I knew, like, I had no resume. I had no connections. I had to start somewhere. So that's another example of working backwards, where, again, I didn't walk into that saying, I want this unpaid internship, like going heads first towards it. No, I said, I'm taking this because it will help get me to this next job, which will help get me to this next job. So it's not like we have to have tunnel vision. Like, I need to know exactly what I want to do in, by next year, in 2 years, in 10 years. But I think it is important to at least work backwards, and try and get closer to at least, the main passions that you really want to do full time. So for me, I never said I wanted to be a venture capitalist until maybe like 2 years ago. But I always knew I loved entrepreneurship and working with founders. And VC is a vehicle to do that. So I've been very intentional about getting to where I am today for a while.
I'm curious, what do you think was your definition of success going into university? Like, what's the idea? What do you think success means?
Yeah, how I worded it, how I've been wording it since freshman year is be able to, experiential learning. So I'd have my classes and do well in the classes, but also I wanted to be able to do these other things like outside the classroom and use those skills from what I was learning in the classroom, in these internships, experiential learning opportunities, and then vice versa. Be able to take the skills from the internships outside the classroom and bring them back into the classroom. So that's always been how I measured success in college. I never went into it saying I wanted to have 10 internships, which I did. Never went into it saying I wanted to be working at this company eventually. It was more working backwards. I want to be able to continue to grow intellectually by taking the skills from the classroom, putting it into the real world, and taking the skills from the real world, putting it into the classroom. And by having all these internships, I was really able to do that. I was a fan favorite of my professors because, in a nice way, I was able to help them kind of teach their classes a little bit, from just direct experience that I had out in the real world. I really recommend any students start to get plugged into the ecosystem early, wherever you're trying to go after. Doesn't have to be through 10 internships, but I'm glad I really got on that early. Yeah.
So let's talk about those internships. You did 10 of them during university, which is I did some adding it up, and it's almost 3 years of internship experience during your 4-year studies. Do you think there was maybe even outside apprehension, people finding it weird or questioning that route?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I was hyper obsessed with working and getting these internships, and a lot of my friends didn't get it. Of course, I think a lot of people start interning junior, senior year, but they would just be always questioning why are you interning, so frequently as a freshman or sophomore? And to your point, yeah, not 3 years, but I think pretty much 4 years of full-time experience I had for the most part, because I was a lot of times I was taking online classes, working full-time, and I'd work through the summers as well. I think, and we were on a quarter system, so the only time I wasn't working was the first quarter of college, just so I kind of get acclimated and learn about the area until I kind of settle in. So my point is, like, I that's all experience that I've been able to add to my story, especially like, for post-grad opportunities. Like, a lot of these companies say they're looking for someone with X amount of full-time experience. I was able to compare myself to, so let's say I graduated when I was like 22. I kind of had the equivalent of someone who was probably 25, 26 at the time working. So which is why, I feel like I've already been ahead by a few years, just because I sacrificed a lot of time, while I was younger, working and learning. I talk a lot about like the importance of storytelling. I think that I just knew like this would always be a part of my story. Like, let me try new things, see what I like, see what I don't like, document like the skills that I learned in this thing that I could use in this later thing. Because there were a lot of jobs that I didn't like, but for sure, like, I learned a lot at those jobs that I still use today. So I think when it comes to like telling your story, it's important to start with a base of like a foundation of just having a lot of experiences. So when I work with founders today, I have like this kind of like a inventory of advice and knowledge just from skills that I've had, things that I've seen in real life happen, people I've spoken to. And you really you build the foundation just by doing a lot and trying a lot of things.
Yeah, that's super helpful and resonates, especially with me, I guess. And additional, one of your key messages from the TED Talk, for example, you did, is focus on growth over status in your 20s. Mm-hmm. Looking back at this early stage of your career, how difficult was following this advice for you, and what were the difficulties, and how did you overcome them? Yeah,
for sure. I haven't been so well at this all the time. There was a point where like maybe I was on like my 5th or 6th internship, and I was just doing them. It became like so robotic for a small period of time, where I started to crave like the actual status. Like, I deserve like this title and this like role. But I had to like really go back and to understand like why I was doing this. I was doing this to build up my skill set, be able to stand out in the future, and overall just grow. So at the end of every internship, during every internship, it became even more important for me to like, again, document my experiences, talk about what I was doing, talk about where I was growing. And that means like I was doing that both internally, but then also externally. And then that's when I started to figure out the importance of building a personal brand. And since then I've been so like loud about kind of like, my own growth, the mistakes that I make, the risks that I take, growth that I see at these jobs. Because again, I think it's super important to focus on your growth and know what you're getting out of these jobs. And that goes back to my point of working backwards as well. Like, I'll never do something new without knowing specifically like what I want to get out of this opportunity, where I need to be a year from today at this job. And that's all growth. That's the definition of growth.
What was your playbook to actually like succeed in those internships?
Yeah. So it's funny looking back at this because, obviously I made the podcast about, I think 2.5 years ago, speaking with influential people about what they did. But that's like something I've been doing for a while, like not in podcast form, but I was always excited to go out of my way to book meetings with these, leaders and managers and mentors at these companies, and just listen to their experiences, ask them really good questions. Again, people love talking about themselves, and I'm someone that like, I view it like a chessboard. Like, I want to be able to hear about all the options that exist, see what's out there, hear what works for someone else, what didn't work for someone else, and then I can pick and choose what works for me. Like it's impossible to copy what every single person did. And I realized that early because at the beginning, probably I was trying to do that. Like, okay, this is someone that I admire, who me like, and they did this. Like I need to do exactly this. This person did this. And, it became overwhelming because you can't like be multiple people at one time. And the only way to do that is to really just listen, learn, and pick and choose what works for you. But then you got to make your own calculated risks as well. So yeah, to answer your question, like from the beginning though, like just very curious about the journeys of other people.
How did you translate that into like bringing value to those companies where you interned at?
In different ways. I mean, so I think like when you do have an opportunity to like listen to someone's needs, what they're going through, what they're struggling with, like it's almost like a cheat code. I mean, they're literally telling you what they need and how you can provide value. So yeah, I'd say like whenever I meet new people now and even back then, I'd be so eager to like hear about, like, yes, like just their day to day, like what's missing. And sometimes like they wouldn't just say it out loud. Like sometimes I would have to like connect the dots. But right when you realize what someone needs, like that's how you can provide value first. And I think in any relationship, it's so important to provide value first. So that's how I stood out. I would listen, I would learn, and I would execute on like something that they need, something that they want. Couldn't do it for everybody, but sometimes I'd say, oh shit, like, I have a unique skill that actually can fill a gap for them here. So I would totally press the gas and help them with something like that.
That's great advice. Thank you. During university, you also you were part of the student body.
Yeah.
Since you're always working backwards, what was the intention behind like your political career?
Yeah, totally. So I wanted to. I know it was only like on university, but you'd be surprised like just how political things can get on college campuses, and especially with administration. And I wanted to start to meet some admins and see how I could collaborate and work with them today. And it's so funny. I mean, what I do today, I work a lot with college campuses, universities, and their administration. So it was nice to start to plant the seeds there. I wanted to learn how to lead as well. So I was interning at a lot of these places, and obviously when you're interning, like you're not going to be given the keys to lead a whole team. So I said, okay, like let me see who else I could lead, like maybe more on my level or at least on my college campus. So it didn't start like that. Like I was first a senator, but then I became vice president of the entire student body and got to practically, lead a whole group of senators, and got to really understand what it's like to lead and manage a busy group of people, a diverse group of people, and those skills that I gained managing individuals there, like I use today. For the teams I manage, etc., and teams that I've managed after. So I'd say connections with administration, management, and like leadership. And the third, I'd say, I was like trying to for sure make a difference, and we did. We rolled out some great initiatives on campus. I think everybody goes into wanting to do something like that, saying like they want to make a difference and change. Like obviously that's what you're doing it. So I was intentional with like what I wanted to do while leading, like what change I wanted to make in the year, and I focused on like rebranding, and I wanted to like market better, like what the student government was doing. So I built better relationships with press and media. I wanted to bring free menstrual products to campus for students that needed those. That was something that people have tried to do for a while at DePaul, and we were able to finally do. So I made that a big objective of my president. We work backwards to see, okay, like what's already been tried, what has been done, like how can we change this? And ironically enough, it was because we were so respected by administration, I believe, and had such great relationships with admin that we were really able to do it in such a short amount of time. So they all kind of tied in with each other. That was a great experience for sure. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, to your point, like I didn't just wake up and say, hey, like time to run. I said, okay, like if I'm going to do this, this is what I have to get out of it. this is how I'll know at the end, like I got something out of it. And I did. It's a lot of fun.
Looking back at your university experience, the experiences you had interning, but then also like the learnings you had in class, was it worthwhile? And also, what was the most important most important part of the experience?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad like I got out and worked in college. To be honest, like my experience would not have been the same if I didn't. I would not be doing what I'm doing today if I didn't get that head start. And just started to like build that the mentality early of working backwards, building up skills, and just trying a lot in my 20s. So yeah, I had a lot of great professors for sure, but I just really craved like so much more than what I was learning in the classroom. And now having like been a college graduate, I'm glad I did. Like DePaul, great school. I learned a lot, but yeah, I mean, I think I for sure gained way more in my college years from working than the classes for sure. Again, I kind of asked that a lot, and I speak with it a lot with my family. Like, would I be doing what I'm doing today if I just went to classes, or if I just had the internships and just started working early? And I think like it's for sure the latter. I don't think that I needed my degree to get to where I am today, because I figured it out. And obviously it would have been more difficult, but it was difficult. I mean, I'm in a space where the traditional path sometimes is like investment banking, and you got to go to this school, got to do these things. And I got into VC through a podcast. So, I mean, I made my own path into doing it. So I think that more 20-somethings, again, need to take ownership of their own lives and identify like where they want to go. I try not to say like what they want to do, because that could change all the time. But where do you want to go? Like in what direction? And you got to take ownership and figure out a unique way to get there.
Yeah. So your advice would be to make this decision very, very open-mindedly versus like thinking about how you can enhance your college experience.
Exactly. Yes.
Almost like, or over 2 years ago, you started a podcast called in their 20s.
Yes.
Together with a friend who sadly passed away in 2021. But you carried on, and in like 112 episodes, I think that's the number. You had like guests like Steve Wozniak, Andy Dunn, Eve Williams. So very impressive people. Why do you think content creation is something more young people should be doing?
Content creating has led me to meet some amazing people, build my network in a way that like, I was already doing before, but this has just allowed me to do it at a whole other rate of exchange and scale. So that's been helpful. Personal branding. So I think like if you build a community, and like if you're transparent with your network about your interests and what you want to do and what you are doing and what you're looking for, like opportunities will start to come your way for sure. So I let people know that, I want them to think about me when they think about Chicago, when they think about startups, when they think about venture capital, or when they think about podcast. And I don't want to always have to be in the room for those conversations with other people thinking about those things. But because like I'm so consistent about sharing my experiences with those 4 things, sharing my thoughts on those 4 things, I've had a lot of people reach out like, hey, Landon, I heard you're the guy to talk to if like I'm interested in moving to Chicago. I heard you're the guy to talk to if I'm interested in starting a podcast. Like, how did you find me, for example? So I think that when it comes to personal branding, like it's really important to just be loud, proud about what you're looking for, what you're doing, what your interests are. And then you'll start to build a steady pipeline where, again, you don't have to always be in the room for people thinking about those things. I think that another thing, so I got laid off earlier this year. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. People get laid off all the time. But like I was just, reflecting a lot, like shit, like if I didn't have this whole other thing that I was putting in so much time with on the weekends, and like my extra thing, my brand, my voice, it would have been just way more difficult for me to jump back in and find something else. And we're going to talk about what I'm doing today, but like, it's so funny. I literally got laid off on a Monday, and had a new job by Wednesday.
That's impressive.
And like it's like our paths crossed at the perfect time. But how they heard about me and like why we started talking is all like through my brand mainly, and what I had built, and especially the company Drive. They're looking to do something very specific in Chicago that like I felt the gaps with, and was able to do that for them. And I have so much fun doing what I'm doing now for them. Because back to do the work for you at the job, I mean, I was already doing a lot of these things already. Just because I was interested in it, passionate about meeting with founders, meeting with VCs, scouting, angel investing. So my point is, I think like when all is lost in the world and you feel lost, things aren't going your way, like your brand can stay constant. Like what you do on the side will always be there, and you can leverage that and use that to create new opportunities for yourself.
Yeah, and you can't be laid off from your podcast, right?
Exactly. Yeah. The only person who can tell me to stop doing what I'm doing is me, on the podcast front. I think that if it doesn't get in the way of work, a side thing is really healthy to have.
Agreed. And also like looking more specifically at your podcast, what is starting and growing this podcast and also talking with all these guests that I've mentioned. What did you learn from this? Probably a lot, but what do you think is like your like, I don't know, 3 key lessons?
Yeah. Consistency always wins. The fact that I was, and I've taken some time off in their 20s, just so I'm still in a transition phase with work. I think for so long I was posting every single week, like over 100 weeks. And I think that that was important for me to, be repetitive and do that and keep growing it through the challenging days, through the good days, but also for the audience. Like it's so important for the audience to like hook on to a day, say, okay, Landon's sharing these every Monday. That makes sense. We're going to start listening more frequently. So consistency is always very helpful. I think number 2, like access for sure. So a lot of people see the people that I speak with on my show and think like, oh my God, how did you get in touch with this person? And I'll be honest, like you got to start small first, but once you start building the flywheel, like it becomes really easy. Because there's this thing called 7 degrees of separation. Like everybody knows of someone. There's like the world is way smaller than you think. And I worked at Cameo briefly as an intern, and I learned that because I got I was getting the celebrities on Cameo. Cameo is the marketplace where you can get custom videos from your favorite celebrities. And I was like, wow, these people are way easier to connect with than like other people assume. Sometimes you got to be a little more scrappy and, reach out this way, that way, be short, simple, to the point. But like, I'm getting these celebrities on the platform. I bet I could do this in a podcast format. And I did. So you start small. But then, if the more consistent you are, you're able to build a flywheel. And yeah, my podcast, at least getting guests, has evolved. Like I went from getting a lot of no's and me reaching out to now I'm at a place where I work with like a lot of public relations teams, and they just send me their clients for free and stuff. So it's like the more you do something, the easier it becomes. And also, I'd say the third thing, like, so when I started the podcast, like it was, at least the objective for us was to have it, become this big media company and grow. And, so we worked backwards to make that happen. And then I had like this switch where I said, oh, I could use this to get into venture. And it was okay to make that switch. And I went fully towards that and started to work backwards and said, okay, what do I need to make that happen? So I think podcasting is a growth hack to a successful career. You'd be surprised. You can get into a lot of new career paths through a podcast.
Did you have like a guest where you had to like, we had this what the fuck moment of, I'm talking to this person right now?
Yeah, no. Oh my God, are you kidding me? All the time. I think the Ed Williams one was crazy for sure. Like I remember like just sitting there like, wow, this is happening. Very cool. And I'd say Steve Wozniak is an obvious one as well. Yeah, that one was really cool. Because that was a big episode 50. I was a little like numb though, like going into it, because I think like a personal matter had happened right before uh, on his side, and like we had to push it back like a few weeks, and I'd been like stressing like what if it doesn't happen, and then I just became pretty numb, and then it just happened. So I felt really good about it. I'm trying to think who else. Better O'Rourke, he was running for president at the time. That was really cool because that was like an early interview. But yeah, no, a few of these have been pretty shocking. I'd say, the Ev Williams one, the most though.
That's like all of the episodes you just mentioned, and basically every single one is worth checking out for sure. You're doing a great job at that.
Thank you.
So let's look at your like post graduation career. Your first full-time position was at Motorola, where you had already like done an internship previously, and you worked there for almost like one and a half years. How was this experience, and especially like finally transitioning into like a full-time thing?
Yeah, so I interned at Motorola first. Had a great internship there, got a lot out of it, and then I became a full-time hire. I'd say a few things that working backwards, like I wanted to do there, like I wanted to master sales. Sales is so important, and I think it's a great way to start at a company because you learn like about all the products really quickly, you learn about the customers very quickly, I just wanted to, I'd been a sales intern previously, but like I wanted to be able to like, okay, full-time sales role, let me see all the things that I have to do to become really successful at this job, because I still use like selling skills every day today, included. And, the companies that I work with today that like are looking at hiring an early sales force, it's nice to be able to share advice with them based off of my learnings. I think I wanted to lead internally as well. So I joined, the young professional group at Motorola and helped, put together some events. That was a lot of fun. And listen, like it's okay. Like there's been some repetition, right, for my working backwards objectives at a few of these jobs. But I'd say at Motorola, like comparing it to the time being vice president, like I wanted to lead, I wanted to master sales. That's the new one. But then also I wanted to create better relationships with like the executives at the company, which I did. Very similarly to like creating better relationships with the administration at this university. So I was able to do that. Once I did those three things at Motorola, I felt like I was at a good place.
And then you left, right? Like it was really this intentional of, hey, like that's what I want to do. Like I'm basically like checked all the boxes, and then you moved on.
Yeah. I moved on. Right before Motorola, I worked at a startup. I was at Cameo as an intern, but it was close to a year-long internship that got extended. So I just knew I wanted to go back to a startup and take those skills from working at the big company for a year and a half, close to 2 years, and be able to use those at a startup. I started at this company called Inside, founded by someone I interviewed on my podcast. And I remember they gave me the job acceptance, and they wanted an answer from me. And the role, was super cool. Work at a media company, startup, have a chance to potentially, do X, Y, and Z. But before I said yes, I emailed them back these three things that I wanted to do, and I asked would I be able to start these on day one? If not, what would I have to do before doing these? Because I knew before I started at Inside that Inside would be probably the last job I had before I got full-time in the venture. So it was all a part of the journey. I didn't know how long I was going to be at Inside because I never put a time limit on it. I more said, okay, if I want to get into venture next, what do I have to do? And the three things I emailed them back, I said I wanted to make a podcast specifically focused on venture capitalists, to meet more VCs. I wanted to lead a team. So I wanted to be an operator / leader. And I wanted to be able to work with the sales team to source and send them opportunities. So for two of those, they said yes, like you can start these on day one. As for the leadership one, they said, okay, like we're not going to let you lead on day one, which totally makes sense. But if you do blank, 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 we'll let you lead a team. And I did that, and I had an opportunity to lead the events team. So once
Pretty
I did those,
quickly, right?
yeah, pretty quickly, because I was only at Insight for about 11 months. So all this stuff, happened really quickly. But yeah, it's just funny because I got laid off, but like the timing was perfect because I accomplished everything I wanted to do. And was able to use that story to help leverage my next opportunity.
Yeah. So, do you feel like when you got laid off, although all these like three things, like you got everything out of it that you wanted to?
Yes. So I got everything out of it that I wanted to. I haven't shared the full story of like how I got laid off and stuff. I might talk about that one day, but it was it was still tough to have to deal with that for sure. Because in one way or another, it was still unexpected. But everything happens for a reason.
So it's 3 months ago, right? That you joined Drive Capital as a GM.
Yeah, I joined Drive Capital about 3 months ago. It feels like I've been there for 3 years. They keep me busy. I love it. This is really like my dream job. I'm doing everything I wanted to do. I didn't know it was going to be with Drive. I didn't know like it was going to be at this capacity. But like this is what I mean by working backwards. Like I'm just so lucky and thankful every day to like be able to do something that like I've been trying to get towards for so long. Like, also be able to make a difference in my city. Like I wouldn't trade what I'm doing now for anything.
How does a day in your life currently look like?
Every day is different, but for the most part, I'm meeting with a lot of founders, averaging maybe like 2 to 3, sometimes 4 founders a day. I'm supporting the current founders that we're investing in, so the pre-seed fund, because I'm building our pre-seed fund in Chicago, and I'm building our Chicago office. So companies are starting to come in, so it's supporting them. I don't want to be the GM investor or the VC that it's just let's give them the money and see you later. Like I've learned this from some VCs do it, some VCs don't. I want to be the hyper involved investor, which means energy can get drained sometimes because I want to be able to connect the dots to the best of my ability. I want to be a friend, therapist, confidant. It's more than just investing. And I feel like there are so many investors that are just so lazy, and they have so many companies, they just kind of forget to care about each one. And not to say you can give 100% of your energy to each one, but I mean it's I go into every meeting with these companies okay, what's your current challenges? I listen, just talk and tell me what you're currently going through, what's wrong, what's the high of the week, what's the low of the week, so then I can start to connect the dots, and at least be the best GM that I can for each individual company. So again, I love it, being able to work hard for the companies because I want them to succeed, and I want to be able to contribute in their success. So yeah, it's tending to the companies that we're investing in, and also just continuing to grow the brand of Drive. And that's not just in Chicago. I've been traveling a lot to other Midwest universities and areas to meet with other VCs, student founders, just continuing to help Drive, build our brand in the Midwest. But eventually, be able to get a lot of these founders that we invest in, if they're not in Chicago, to move to Chicago. Because I want Chicago to be the next hotspot for sure.
Well, how do you invest? What are you looking for?
Yeah. So I usually start with whether or not the founder can see themselves doing this for 10 plus years sometimes. And I know that's using an arbitrary number, but I think some people, myself included, and why I'm not a founder right now, I haven't found the one idea that I want to focus on forever. Founders need to make sure that they understand that this is a long-term journey. You're going to have a lot of highs, but then also during the lows, what keeps you there? Why do you want to stay? So it's important for me to understand whether or not that founder wants to be working on this for a long time. We talk a lot at Drive about the why now. Why is now the time to build this? And what I say often is no idea is a new idea. You might think that you're the first person to do this. Chances are it's not true. Someone's tried it. one way or another, but they failed because the timing wasn't right for the most part, or the founders gave up. And I always get the Uber example. Like, Uber's why now? Because many people tried ride sharing before Uber. Uber had a very clear why now of the rise of smartphones, the rise of 3G, and the use of Google Maps released their API that allowed companies to use in their own apps, etc. So, and see the inside of Google Maps. So without those three things, I don't think Uber would have succeeded. So it's important that founders can communicate, like, why is now, like, what's the critical insight that you have that says that now is the time to build this? And market size is also very important to us at Drive, but every market's big for the most part. And it's so easy to just Google and say, okay, like, this is a $60 billion market, or this is a $50 billion market. And that's not what I'm talking about. Like, I want you to share the number, and I want you to break it down in a very, articulate way. Like, and then also, what's the insight there? Like, why do you think it's growing? Why is the market this size right now? How many people are made up in this market? So yeah, it's important to communicate that as well.
You also angel invest, right? Like, and hustle
Yes.
fund and stuff. Is that the same approach, or why do you angel invest?
Yeah, very similar approach. With angel investing, I think I have like a little more flexibility sometimes to invest in like friends also, like, and support them. But I just invested in my first last year, and they just raised a Series A. I got in pretty early, so that was exciting. And those guys are just friends that I met through the podcast. So the podcast has opened up a lot of doors for me for sure.
That's so cool. You're still super young. Like, that's safe to say. You're in your 20s. But nevertheless, you've done like a lot of impressive stuff, and you've seen so many different things from different perspectives. Are you happy with where you are today?
Yeah, but I'm so hungry for more. So never get too comfortable.
What are you chasing?
I'd say the big thing that I've been saying like forever, and I think like, so relevant, is freedom for sure. Like, freedom of my time, and like, not to say I don't love what I'm doing, but I mean, once we get older, like once we become more experienced, you can start to see like, okay, like, if I want to do this full time, I can do this thing. If I want to like fully dive into this, I can do this. So I think most people for sure are like chasing for that freedom, and that's okay. Because I'm still living in the moment. Like, I'm still, I love what I do, and I'm going to continue to do what I do right now. And I'm way more free and following obviously what I wanted to do long term now than I was like last year or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So I think that's something that's always fun to chase. But yeah, other than that, what else am I chasing? Like, the growth of Chicago is really important to me. That feels like a overwhelming challenge sometimes, but I think that we're gonna make it happen. We just need to continue to build great things in the city, build a community as well, and give founders a reason to want to stay here. So, my objective is to, like, I want $10 billion companies in Chicago, and I want them to come through what we're doing at Drive. It's easier said than done though. So, just every day, just kind of focus on my tasks and goals for the day. But like, if I have to work, say like, what am I working backwards towards? It's that.
What's your definition of success right now? Is it like money? Probably not, but maybe it is money that you earn.
Yeah, no, not money at all. I'd say, wow, yeah, good question. I mean, impact. Yeah, I love people that come up to me and say, hey, like, I got into XYZ because of you, or thanks for the advice that, you shared on this. Like, now I'm motivated to do this now. And yeah, I think just overall impact is something that I've always been passionate about. But like, I love helping people get closer to following their dreams. And I think you accomplish your dreams when you get other people like close to accomplishing theirs or able to accomplish theirs. So to the people who have been influenced by me to start something like from scratch or start something on the side, like that's all I could ever ask for. That's been amazing. And sometimes it's like, wow, thank you. Like, but it's
Paul Griffith said he's determining his success by like whether or not he's stopping traffic at his funeral.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, maybe I'll get there one day. We'll see.
I feel like that's a great tweet.
Yeah, that is a great tweet.
Yeah. So, what do you think is your or was your biggest failure, and what did you learn from it?
Biggest failure? Well, I mean, I fail all the time. And I love when I fail because you learn from those failures. I mean, yeah, just starting certain things, like starting different projects that didn't work out. But like, I don't view that as a failure because, while it didn't work, I could say, hey, like, this is why it didn't work. This is what I would have done differently. So I think that, you can turn failures into a positive, like if you're able to reflect and know specifically like what went wrong. And then failure is bad when you make the same mistake twice. Welcome, like, don't fear failure. Welcome mistakes, but just, don't make them twice.
Yeah. And like almost in the opposite way, what were, I don't know, 2-3 key decisions where you like went left when everyone went right, that turned out to be like golden and life-changing?
Dude, great question. Let me tell you why I think that's a great question. I think it's because we have so many decisions that we have to make every day that really stress us out and will continue to stress me out. But I think that at the end of the day, like, there are only maybe 3 or 4 big things that, like, if you decided in your life, like, the big decisions that really matter. So yeah, I'd say moving here, not to say like I had doubters and haters and stuff. But yeah, it was a big thing. I mean, a lot of people from where I'm from ended up just staying there. So maybe I'd even add like staying in Chicago after graduating. That's for sure one of them. Launching the podcast for sure. And just, how much like I worked in college as well. I'd say those are like the 3 major things that I'm glad I did.
I love it. It was super cool. Is there anything you wanna promote? I'll definitely link your podcast in the description and show notes. But anything else?
No, nothing I didn't talk about today, but just Paul wanted to say thank you so much. Really enjoyed this episode. Spoke a lot about working backwards, spoke a lot about focusing on your growth, and spoke a lot about just making an impact. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And that's a wrap for this week's episode of Up Next. If you want to unlock more secrets to success, then make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode again. And if you enjoy the show, I'd be super grateful if you could take a moment to leave me a review on your favorite podcasting platform. Your feedback helps me to continue bringing you the best content and guests. Remember, you have the power to shape your own future. You are up next. Till next Wednesday, I'm Paul, signing off. Bye-bye.